This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon. Today I want to talk about a pretty interesting topic. It's like an extension of the topic that's interesting, actually. The idea of toxic masculinity, which is extremely interesting in today's climate. We never had the conversation around toxic femininity, and I know this is going to be sensitive. Just hear it out and make your own mind up. I'm not trying to influence ideas or saying that there's not extremely horrendous behavior from men around the world. That's definitely the case in some circumstances. I'm not saying that at all. Just so, since it is quite a sensitive topic, hear it out. That's all I'm asking. So, the idea of this toxic masculinity and the thing that I want to present today is actually an antidote to that, for one. But what I'm also interested to hear from you guys that have an idea of it, I want to hear what you actually define toxic masculinity to be. If it's a subject that's that you are either sensitive to in any shape or way. I don't mean that in like the negative triggered word. I just mean that you're familiar with. I'm curious how people define it, because the way we define every single fucking thing is just different. So often we might ask for a solution to something that someone else is trying to give a solution, but they have a different definition. So yeah, I'm interested to hear that. So feel free to DM me, catch me on Facebook, you know where to find me. But you'll see where this conversation goes shortly. But let me explain something first around all of this. And it's because I remember reading an article on, I think it was a Facebook page, it was called Upworthy. And it was like basically 5 examples of non-toxic masculinity. And so this is part of the issue of the current climate around this kind of conversation, is that non-toxic masculinity is actually called masculinity. It's not called non-toxic masculinity, because what we're presupposing is that toxic masculinity is a norm. It was also written by a female. And I'm not trying to start some sort of gender war. It's ridiculous. It's not men versus women or women versus men. It's both of us versus the problem. And that's a really important thing to understand. And so taking all that into account, this idea of like, here are examples of non-toxic masculinity, I'm like, well, this is part of the actual issue, really, is that we're presupposing that masculinity in itself is inherently toxic. And the difficult thing is that masculinity doesn't mean man, it means the masculine traits, which a lot of females have, right? Well, every person has. We all have femininity within us, and we all have masculinity within us. So it's a really interesting aspect and thing to see that. And I think it's really crucial for us men to stand up and be good examples of that. And I've had my downfalls growing up and going through this rubbish that I've had to work through with myself and all that sort of stuff. And coming out the other side of that, it's like, well, I wish I had better role models on some level. And so the idea was like, right, well, I'm not going to complain about the ones that I didn't have or I should have had or none of that rubbish. I'm going to work on being the best role model that I can and being the best example that I can, so that I can be an example of masculinity, so to speak, and a healthy version of that. So the way that I would propose this idea, and I heard this actually from a Jordan Peterson Q&A on one of his presentations. It was actually a pretty stupid sort of conversation, and I don't think it was run very well, but he said something that really sort of stood out. And the question was, what's the antidote to toxic masculinity? And once again, how do you define it? That's the question. But he basically said responsibility. And I think this is really crucial. I think there is a lot of young men out there who are hungry for responsibility and don't actually have that direction. And the thing is that a lot of them are waiting to just get given that. And this is one of the things that I said in an earlier podcast about the meaning of life, or give your life more meaning. It's like, it's not up to the world to give you responsibility. It's up to you to claim it. And you can start by claiming responsibility of your actions and your behavior and how they impact people around you, by looking out and seeing how your actions actually interacting, and impact people around you. Now, this is a very, very tricky area, because the thing is that a lot of people are at the moment are complaining about my rights, but they're not actually going, this is also my responsibility. And the thing is that in order to have rights, we also have to have the conversation of responsibility, right? And so for for us to move forward as a society into the next cultural milieu or meme, which is basically the group think, it's integral that we start to see our men stand up and take responsibility. Now, this is also across the board. This is for women as well. I don't think it's separate to that. I think it's humans. But I think at this stage, there's a lot of... It's easier for a male. And I'm not... Just to clarify, it's focusing on this idea because I'm a male. I've spoken to a lot of men around this and from different ages. It's like, find something to learn to be responsible for in your life. And start with something fucking small, right? That's the idea of cleaning your room, but it goes past that. It goes into the idea of looking after an animal. I mean, one of the things, I house sat for 3 years, and it was from like, it was literally to survive. I wasn't in a good place. I was earning fucking nothing. When I was in between houses, I would sleep on mates' couches or in my car, at the gym. And so going past that, what I learned was to take care of other people's stuff and take care of animals. And funnily enough, looking back at it now, it's crazy. I started to take more responsibility. I had to, otherwise these things died. And it's like, well, that's what happens in life. If you don't take responsibility for things that matter to you, they die, right? It could be a plant, or it could be a business, or it could be a relationship, or it could be you, right? And the worst thing to do is to die and not actually stop breathing, right? And that's what ends up happening to a lot of people. And that's when they start earning a dying, not earning a living. Right, and they become a victim to particular things, and this is one of the biggest things, is to really understand that to move forward and to have a healthy relationship, firstly with ourselves and then with our community, is to stand up and take responsibility, and we have the power to do that. All we have to do is put our hand up. And here's another way to do it: put your hand up and do some community work, right? And do it with the less fortunate. Do something with your spare time. Get the fuck off computer games. Like, you're here for this moment on this earth. It's like, find a way to contribute, because the depth of it all, and I extend this to you, and take from it what you will, is that at the end of the days, there's only two things that matter. And I'm going to repeat this in a podcast coming up. I know there's one coming up because a special date's coming up. But the only two things that matter is the memories you make and how you contribute, right? And the thing is that you're in control of both of those things. You're in control of how you actually create your memories and how you store them and what they mean to you. You're in control of that. You're also in control of how you contribute. So, no one's going to talk about your fucking couch. No one's going to talk about your Call of Duty game score. No one's going to talk about all the, even for me, I love my whiskey collection, but no one's going to talk about that. They don't care about that. They care about how I contributed. And they care about the memories that I make with them, the experiences. And that's it. Like, that's even my gym. My gym is in the memories business. We help people be in a position in their life where they can participate so they can create more memories. That's the difference. The business across the road is a boat business. They help fix boats up. They told me a story the other year, and it's like, fuck, we're in the same industry, right? We're in the memory industry. And what happened is this boat rocked up. They're like, mate, the boat's not starting, and we got to go to the coast tomorrow. And this was 2 days before Christmas, or 2 days before Boxing Day it was, actually. It was a Friday. And they're like, can you please just have a look at it? Not Boxing Day, the Christmas Eve. And the guys are like, sure, no worries. The thing is that what these people did was stay back at work a little bit longer than they normally would to help this young family create memories on the water that their kids will remember for life. Like, that's impacting generations. This is the thing about this, is that memories fucking matter, and how we contribute matters. And don't ever forget that, because that can drive your life, and that can give you responsibility to really make an impact here. Because it is impact over income. It doesn't mean that income is not important. That's not the case at all. And income is a way to measure your impact. And so the most important thing amongst all of this is that for us as a society, both men and women, it's us versus the problem, whatever the problem is. And it's learning to take responsibility for what's in our realm. And when we do that, we're truly beautiful, and we're truly one. Team, that's it. I'm out. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you found this podcast beneficial, it would mean the world to me if you would pass it on to someone else that you think would also find it beneficial. If you haven't already, then jump on Mood Prep Online. There's some big changes happening in that group in the next coming months. Coming weeks, really. I've got a big helper with me. Thank you, Courtney. And what's going on. So either way, that's it. I'm done. Thank you very much for tuning in. Until tomorrow, you know the story, guys. Peace and pizza. Kick today in the dick. Slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
To be everything at once, be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.